There is an energy permeating this Des Moines North girls soccer practice. Dozens of players, alongside coaches and alumni, warm up on a muddy field sandwiched between the Des Moines River and Grubb Stadium. The temperature hovers around the mid-50s, lowered by a steady breeze blowing off the water, and players donning anything from t-shirts and shorts to sweatshirts and joggers pass soccer balls back and forth as they wait for their remaining teammates to show up. Head coach Lisa Grief bounces from player to player. She checks in with one of her leading scorers, who watches practice from her perch on a pair of crutches. She sits next to another player and walks them through exercises for shin splints. Her calm but commanding voice gathers the players into a large circle for a pre-practice pep talk. With her players and a handful of alumni gathered around, Grief walks through the day's plan. And, in the process, she reminds the team that they are part of something bigger. North Soccer, Grief expressed, is building into something really special. The pinnacle of North's growth occurred last season. North put together a 10-5 record in 2023, the new mark for the most wins in a single season by the program. It marked an evident turnaround from the season before, when the Polar Bears won only one game and lost over a dozen, and presented a remarkable moment of celebration for a program that lost 67 straight games between April 2012 and April 2017. Sure, the loss to Mason City in the regional semi-final, one that brought an end to the historic season, stung. But it didn't take away the pride felt by the Polar Bears players and coaches. It meant a lot, senior midfielder Hannah Guyas said. When we won those games, it felt good. It kept me going. But it's not always about winning. We will push through no matter how many games we lose. Winning is important in sports. But, at least for Grief and her staff, it isn't everything. When Grief took over at North in 2016, the school could barely field a team. There were multiple factors limiting the roster size. Des Moines North boasts one of the most diverse student populations in the metro, and several of the players on the Polar Bears roster come from backgrounds that, culturally, don't place much emphasis on the importance of women's sports. Many of the athletes that came through Grief's program, and even some girls still on the current roster, didn't play competitive soccer until they got to North. I've had girls not want to play because girls don't play sports, and culturally, that's something we hear, Grief said. So, they're the first one to play sports, or sometimes their parents maybe didn't want them to do it. It's scary breaking these barriers. There is also the losing issue. It's difficult to get players to stick with a team that doesn't see much success on the field. Several players shared there were times when they considered quitting.